frantic trading during the biggest one-day rise in oil prices on record. This was New York, but the high price of fuel is a global problem. Energy ministers from the world's richest nations are gathering in Japan to discuss the issue. Even in a volatile market, what's happening now is unprecedented.
People either are aware of it and say, well, I'm not going to be here anyway, or I don't think they understand the severity of the situation.
The only solution from a sort of oil price point of view and from a green point of view is for people to try and get off the oil hook a little bit.
We import a lot of our gas from other countries as well. At the end of the day, it's got to run out sometime.
With petrol prices where they are now, I think that helps me think twice about the fact that I need to have a car that's got a smaller engine.
You would think it would just get people off the road, but I'm not sure. I don't really think it is, to be honest, at the moment.
Mainly due to the oil price. I mean, I've gone down from 80 now to about 67 miles per hour on the motorway because I do about 15 miles a day. That's about the only thing I do. Save some petrol, and it's really probably more personal than for the environment, I suppose.
I don't think we can help being addicted to it, to be honest.
I'd really like not to have to drive to work.
Transport's always a bit of a niggling issue.
I'll be honest with you, it's a necessity. I've got a family of 5.
You know, should everybody within 2 miles of Nationwide House, if they have the ability to walk or cycle or run to work?
Say they live 50 miles away, they can always put their bike in the car, drive to a certain distance, park their car up in a park and ride or something like that, get on their bike and cycle the rest of the way.
Well, I car share with a friend of mine, so she would normally drive in, but because I live quite near her, sort of do a detour and go and pick her up in the morning. So it means it's only one car going, and it means that we can get into a special car park as well, so we've guaranteed a space really. So that's kind of a benefit, a perk for us as well.
When you see people driving around in a huge, great vehicle, just one person sat in it, it just seems a bit of a waste and a shame.
I think over the last 4 years we've probably used 10,000 tonnes of recycled material, which in that time, which equates to about 15,000 pallets.
I think probably the fact that we draw on renewable energy an awful lot. So I know that we've had a deal now for some while with energy providers to provide us with renewable energy, which I think I'm proud of that personally, because I do that at home. So it makes good sense to do that.
Nationwide is quite proud itself of how it sort of is quite energy efficient in terms of its buildings and its renewable energy sources, but I think it could perhaps do more to incentivise employees to consider that in their sort of home environments.
Well, I do recycle, and I do try and encourage my family to recycle as well.
I have showers, I don't bath, I have showers because it uses less water.
It makes sense. For me, it saves me money and then it saves energy.
Possibly having some solar panels installed.
And we've actually been using some of the old timber from that woodland to run a mocked up central heating system at home, which works very well.
Just because there seems to have been so much in the media lately about sort of fossil fuels depleting and running out and the sort of carbon issues.
It's our sphere of influence that's quite important. So we have over 16,000 employees. If we can convince them that what they're doing at work should then be taken to the home, we could probably have quite a significant impact.
I've just left university and I feel there's a lot that we weren't aware of, When you ask me what needs to be done in the environment, I couldn't just pinpoint one thing. There's so much that needs to be done. But again, it's all about the awareness. I don't think it's there.
I always thought it would be nice to have some on-site sustainable energy production, and I'd love to get involved in that.
When it comes to lighting, for example, you know, post-dark, how many lights are needed on in Nationwide House? I know there's been some discussion about the aesthetics of the building from the outside with lights on and things, but it's the kind of thing that we should be challenging, really, I think.
A huge glass building essentially here at Nationwide House, and I can't help thinking there must be some way of kind of harnessing the huge amounts of heat that's produced, for example, in the atrium at both ends, really.
Rainwater flushing systems for the, you know, particularly in this building, you know, so you can flush the toilets with rainwater, get some solar panels as well.
Well, Nationwide could produce its own sort of vegetables and fruit on site. We've got the grounds to do it, so it's definitely something that they could think about doing in the future.
Try and get more people to stop using their vehicles to come into work.
They need to improve their systems to allow people to work from home.
Cost cutting is really high on the agenda here anyway at Nationwide, so you know, if we can make those little changes like using video conferencing rather than hiring cars and travelling up, we're helping the Nationwide as a business, and we're also helping the environment at the same time.
Planting trees, etc. and stuff like that, so whatever their carbon footprint is, what are Nationwide going to do to offset their carbon footprint? Organisations
like the National Trust in Swindon, and their sort of policies of no car park, well, that's just a fairly categorical, right, you use public transport. And you know, it's those kind of real kind of gutsy moves that I think make a big difference.
I think companies like us and big corporates can afford to spend a bit more to be green and to set the trend, really.
One more kind of way of differentiating yourself is a provider of financial services to say you do it in an ethical way.
And people now are looking for the ethical stance to see whether you're green or not.
As a mutual society, we understand the benefit to the environment, you know, the local community in what we're trying to do. I think naturally you get some business benefit on the back of that.
Nationwide's 150 years old through different mergers of building societies. If we want to keep going, we need to be sustainable.
Sustainability is seen as, you know, the sort of on the fringes of sort of corporate policy and corporate identities, and it would be nice to see it built in a much more sort of in-depth way into the sort of psyche of an organisation.
We just need to look at things in a slightly different way.
It's probably up to me to sort of ask a few questions, you know, whether things could be done to help out.
I want to do as much as I can, and I hope everybody else does, because we're actually looking for the future of our children and their children's children.
It's the forward thing now. It's something that we should be doing subconsciously.
It's going to hit everybody sooner or later. It's just a question of sort of whether you're on the front foot or the back foot.